That's awesome.
I'm going to take it back to page 153 for just a minute. Rabbeinu Avraham ben Rambam tells us, I'll read to you in English because we already did this once. Likewise, those scholars who are firmly rooted in knowledge and delve into it for its own sake attain humility, not pride. They see that their knowledge, though abundant, is minuscule when compared with another being on a more lofty and flawless level of existence. They will be modest, thinking of all that is beyond them, not proud of what they have achieved. I once heard from a Hasidic Mikubal that if you look at people when they dance at a wedding, don't judge people because I heard this. It doesn't have to be true. It could be that it's another kind of way to understand it. He says that when people dance at a wedding, if you see the ones who are dancing, holy dancers are always looking up. And the ones that are dancing, dances that are them trying to show off or them trying to be promiscuous, are always looking down. He said, watch, because one person is looking at themselves and trying to make sure their steps are all perfect and they can show up. And they're looking down because that's the direction they're going. And other people are looking up because it's nothing to do with whether their footwork matches up to the music. It's everything to do with an experience they're trying to soar higher.
Dancing with her.
In a symbolic level, when Talmid Chacham learns Torah, he has two directions he can look. He can look back and see, wow, look how much I've grown since I started learning Torah. And become full of conceit, full of pride. Or he can look forward and say, you know, I have a very long way to go. So even though I accomplished a lot, maybe compared to someone else, why am I always comparing myself to those who know less than me and not to those who know more than me? Because if I start doing that, I'll realize, don't be so proud of it. You have ways to go. It says, a real Talmid Chacham is humble because he knows what he doesn't know. Whereas one who uses it to become arrogant is because all he focuses on is how much he knows compared to what everybody else doesn't know. Rabbi Akiva, on page 155. Rabbi Akiva was renowned for his knowledge, was once challenged by another scholar on a certain legal point, and was unable to respond. The other scholar then said, are you Akiva ben Yosef, whose name is spread over the entire world? Are you sure you're the same Rabbi Akiva I've heard about? You are fortunate to be renowned, though you have not yet reached the level of a cattle shepherd. He's put down Rabbi Akiva. Oh, you're so famous. They talk to me about you everywhere, but you don't even know enough to be a cattle shepherd. Rabbi Akiva's reply was, I have not even reached the level of a sheep shepherd. He was not like the ignoramus who pretends to be educated, who understands only a few legal issues and yet admires himself and says, there is none other than I. Rabbi Akiva says, listen, you're mocking me about how much I don't know. Let me tell you how much I don't know. Why do you have to... I mean, you think you're catching me off guard, you're putting me down. I tell you, if there's anyone who knows that I don't know, it's me. And so what? You know, what's the big deal? We have this fear in the world today of not knowing. It's not the same as I used to teach in a post-high school program. They call this FOMO, fear of missing out. People have a fear of not knowing an answer to something. They're going to ask you a question and you're not going to know the answer to it. Now there is a Ran. Rabbeinu Nisim writes in Masechet Nedarim, the reason why you must study Torah day and night is that when someone asks you a question in Judaism, you don't mumble and not know the answer. You should know everything. Okay, but that's an ideal. Rather, it's important that on that journey of reaching that place, you know that I don't know, and I don't always know everything, and so what if I don't know everything? Why does it take away from me if I don't know? Rashi so many times says, I don't know. If Rashi can say, I don't know, you don't have to know anything. Rashi knows everything, so if he doesn't know something, it's okay. What's the big deal to say, until today, what do we find in the Haggadah? Until today, I never understood the whole story of the leaving of Egypt, the Yitzhak Mitzrayim Badot. I never understood.
They don't understand.
If they don't understand, so what are you beating yourself up for? They have to ask yourself, I'm on a journey, and on this journey, I'm growing, and I want to know more. And I'm not using this as an excuse to not know. To the contrary, I'm using this as an excuse to know more, but not become arrogant because I know more. What do you see a Talmid Chacham that has arrogance, has gava? It smells worse than a spoiled fish on the side of the road. It's disgusting, the smell from a... It's like it's repulsive. If somebody else is an egotistical person, an arrogant person, you don't care. So what? It's okay. People have problems. But you see somebody who's purporting to be a Talmid Chacham and all they can talk about. You know, Peretz once told us that if you're in a class and you're teaching Torah, And you're telling, what do we do? We tell stories about this. I was once here, I was once there. So if you feel that you're using the word I too much in a class, then you should stop. Switch topics, right? He says, but if there's really another story you need to share, so then you can always tell a story. There was once a Talmid Chacham who went to a place, and I know this Talmid Chacham. You're talking about yourself also, but it's bad to be a Talmid Chacham, and everything is packaged in I, and everything that I know and I see and I want, and it's not a correct approach. But I see that a lot of people, this is the way they speak. And it makes you wonder. I was once sitting with a couple over Friday night dinner, and this lady was talking. I said, okay, so some people talk a lot. What can I do? But this lady did not stop talking about herself. She's this, and she's that, and her husband is sitting next to her. They're newlyweds.
Hi.
Her husband's next to her. She doesn't have one thing to say about him. Nothing. She's incredible. She's God's gift to mankind. She's the she got this degree and she has this job and she was once offered this and she wants to accomplish that. And afterwards I told somebody, I said, I'd be very surprised if this couple stays together for more than a little while. And I was just, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Because it happened.
You were off by a game.
I'm going to take it.
A few months.
You're sitting there.
I'm sitting there, yeah. You can sit.
You have a person that's obsessed with
We can
themselves. If
scoot
you're
over
obsessed
here.
with yourself, how could you ever care enough about somebody else? And so this leads me to segue into page 163. 163.
Can you open the thing? Yeah.
And this chapter is a very important chapter because it's true. And unfortunately, the Jewish community, see, I can't tell you, other religious communities, they don't listen to me. But this is a Jewish community book. And it's called Gava, conceit, arrogance, Haba al Yidei Hadat, that is due to religion. Somebody asked me, why are you so insistent people should study books that are classics? And sometimes it's hard to connect to. I'll tell you why. Because until I find another rabbi who's alive today who writes a book on the conceit that's due to religion, then I'm going to suggest that you don't read those books and you read the Rabbi Yonatan Halevy books. These rabbis were not afraid to tackle all the issues by the horns, to grab them, to run at them head first. This is important. You're a rabbi, so either talk about things that are important or don't talk at all. But don't sit there and talk about things that we all know, things that we already hear, and things that make us feel good and warm inside. Sometimes you have to talk about the problems like this also. V'tzarich gam leha'ir. It says we must also alert you to the fact. Etzimat libcha.
Ha'ir is a fact?
Leha'ir means to wake up. Hitoreri. We say in Chazal.
Okay.
This
Is
is
it spelled differently than city?
no, it's spelled exactly the same way as city.
Because the city's always awake and moving.
That's a great question. I wonder why is ear and air the same
Ear and
So-
air?
city and being awake or awakening? It's a great question. Could be. So I wish to awaken your heart. Etzimat libcha ki kashem sheyesh chachamim haba'im lichalal ta'ut. Just there are scholars who make mistakes, who mitga'im b'chokhmatam, and they become arrogant with their knowledge. עד שישובו על ההשקפה הנכוחה שהארנו ליסודותיה וקווי הכללים, the basis of which we have brought to your attention, which we spoke about before. כך יש צדיקים הבאים לכלל טעות ומתגאים בדתם ובצדקתם. There are righteous people who mistakenly marvel at the degree of their religious observance and righteousness. עד שישובו על ההשקפה הנכוחה שנאיר להלן על יסודותיה וכלליה. Until they reclaim true insight, the basis of which we will also bring to your attention. Oh, I don't eat that kind of food. It's like already okay. Oh, my house, we don't eat that extra. It's a normal thing already to say. And you say it in the kind of voice of like, can't believe you do. It's like, it's almost this is
Dismissive.
I once had a guy who was studying with me in yeshiva. And I'll tell you, he asked me to teach him Rav Peritz's classes in English. Because he couldn't understand them. And he was hoping to one day be a rabbi. So he asked me for the first year in yeshiva if I could sit with him in the class and then translate for him afterwards. So I would review with him everything Rav Peretz told him afterwards. And I didn't want to do it. I wasn't really interested in tutoring, but one of the rabbis said it's a chesed to help somebody out. Okay, so I gave him a few hours of my day. At one point, he just stopped showing up. So I said, "What happened? Like you came over here, you took all my time. Where'd you go?" He said, "You know, the other day you told me that Rav Peretz said that a knife that was used for meat a week ago, if you cut onions with it, those onions are parv." I said, "Okay, yeah, I did say it's true. I'm not lying to you." He said, "Well, we don't hold like that. There's we like this. We don't hold like that." I said, "Who's we?"
The royal law.
He said, "Oh, I went to ask my Rav, and my Rav told me that we don't hold like that." I said, "Okay, so don't hold like it." He says, "No, but now it questions whether anything that I've studied here is true."
Yeah, that's very common.
I said, "Let me ask you a question. Does your Rav teach people to be rabbis?" "Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't give smicha classes." I said, "So then, I don't know. You're not going to study with me, but I know who you're going to study with. You should know this person." They went after this Rav, the Erev Rav. They went whatever depths they went into. They're not anywhere near being a rabbi today. All because of a knife that cut an onion. You have to understand. It's this attitude of go back and tell them how religious we are. This is this attitude. What are you getting from your religious onions? This is a person. Hashem gave us a Torah on Har Sinai.
Makes you cry.
And somehow,
Yeah.
Storyline, Jack. It makes you cry.
Plays on the cutting edge.
the Jewish people have managed to take
Steak
a
and
faith
onions.
that was given to us with thunder and lightning and rain and hail and fire on Mount Sinai, transform the entire world. We've managed to reduce it to which kind of knife we can use to cut an onion. Do you understand?
But it comes, I think it comes from a place where somebody like that doesn't sit and figure it out. Like, so where did it come from? Where did the whole halacha evolve from? From where? And they don't think critically. They have a statement, that's it. So if you teach the Jewish people to actually think,
So somebody who doesn't think critically should probably stay away from being a rabbi. We have enough rabbis that don't think, let alone critically. We don't need more of that. Maybe it was me and Shemaiah that he didn't continue. I should have told him about the onion a few years before. Months, we studied months. 6 months probably studied.
Still we can use onion.
What?
Still we can use onion.
Still you can
Yes.
use the onion.
Cutting is not cutting.
I told her parents told me that I should tell this guy that if his rabbi wants, he should come to yeshiva, he'll make a bet with him. So he'll bring him a knife that they cut meat with today in the morning, not last week. And if he slices the onion, and he can taste in that onion meat, he'll give him 100 shekels. I called the guy, I told him, you think his rabbi ever showed up for the bet?
no.
You think the rabbi needed 100
uncooked,
shekels?
That's uncooked meat?
Doesn't make
Raw
a difference.
doesn't
Cook,
count.
let's say hot, cooked, boiling, barbecued meat with chametz type. Make it the worst scenario you can come up with. It's still not gonna. You're not gonna taste it in your onion. When Maran talks about knives transferring taste, have you ever seen the knives they used to use? Have you ever been to a museum and seen old artifacts?
Yeah,
Old shechita knives from back in the day.
Serrated
They
with
literally
shit.
have holes in them. The metal is it looks like ceramic almost. It's a very
Porous.
porous. But you feel it, like you could run your finger along the blade and you'll feel that it's rough. That's what Maran is talking about. Maran says, you got this, how are you going to clean out all those pores? Today you're talking about a knife where
That's
the
fancy.
knife doesn't absorb anything. Anything.
And has been treated to a high degree of heat.
The stainless steel, a stainless steel knife, what are you going to taste on there? So listen, there are some poskim that say that stainless steel is entirely powder. It's like glass.
Oh,
In my heart, I agree with them absolutely. In practice, I don't tell that to people. And the way I don't do it in my house either. You can relax a little bit. But it's almost hocus pocus. Half the things we're studying about, the meat knife went to the dairy. Is that knife really a meat knife, or is it really a pirate knife? When someone calls you up with the question, what was it made out of? Rabbi, it wasn't glass. It was stainless steel. I said, great. So now I know that bowl is a pirate bowl. It's not a meat bowl. That pot is not a meat pot. It's not a dairy pot. It's pirate pot. Now, does that make somebody afraid to ask me halakha questions? Great.
no.
But if not, we're dealing with a hocus pocus Judaism. It's like, oh, the knife is miraculously meat and it gives off flavor. It doesn't give off any flavor. If you would take it to a laboratory and test it and under a microscope, run whatever test you want to run on it, they wouldn't find meat in this knife. So what do you?
I think after a while it becomes symbolic. You know, you use a knife to cut meat, then you think when you use the same knife, you're thinking meat, and then if you cut something that isn't meat, you're thinking, well, then I can eat what I'm cutting with.
Oh, very good.
You know.
Jack is bringing up the Am Haaretz dilemma. I had this with my wife. In the beginning of my marriage, I was like, oh, everything follows Shulchan Aruch here. And then I realized that not only is everyone not as learned, but not everyone is as careful. Like, I am very careful that certain things never cross. That when I will take something out of a hummus container in my refrigerator, never will that be a dirty meat spoon or a dirty dairy spoon. It's always going to be clean. It's going to be. I'm never going to double it. But I see some people there. They're eating their sandwich and they're sticking their fingers in here. And so you're right. These people don't function on the same. I don't think it's people you don't know. They're not. The level of
People are in a
cross
hurry.
contamination is much higher than it is in my kitchen. And I don't run a grade A health department kitchen. I am careful in the things that I do, not to mix things around. And I'm also careful on halakha, temperatures, what is hot, what is cold, and you're right, other people don't know these things. So, for example, when I do hashgacha for an event, kosher, and I have non-Jewish people working in the kitchen. But me, meat is on that wall, dairy is on that wall. If you cross the red line in the middle, you're fired. Why? Because, you don't expect somebody to know how important it is, meat and milk. But when you're dealing with Jews who are supposedly religious Jews, they went to, how many years? 18 years of Jewish school. I would expect they graduate from Jewish school, not an Amaretz. But my expectations are wrong.
We were talking about how the focus on Gemara as opposed to Shulchan Aruch is part of the problem, because you have to learn up. You have to have logical deduction tools in order to make decisions or to know what is what. It's not a matter of that the stricter is always right or
You're right.
the lenient
You're
is
right.
always right. It's,
Imagine if you taught children from kindergarten the way systematically, not a Shulchan Aruch from the beginning. No, you're not going to start with them complicated things, but they should know general overview of who did Maran write Shulchan Aruch for? For children,
Here with the Shulchan Aruch for children.
for the laymen and for the children, because it says it's his abridged version of his Bet Yosef.
this is abridged.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he wrote it in 30 volumes, meant to be studied 1 volume a day. So every month, every lay person could finish the whole Shulchan Aruch.
No one could have conceit.
Today,
This is like an abridged
Today-
version.
In one day?
this is not even a 30th of the book. This is only part of the first volume of Shulchan Aruch.
Oh,
There are 4 sections of Shulchan Aruch, 4 volumes. He meant
This
for you to
is
finish all
part-
4 every month.
This is one part of one book of a set of 30?
This is Maran's Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. His abridged version of Jewish law.
But
No, the Maran top, the text on top.
just a sec, just
Yeah,
this
no,
part
not
on
the
top.
commentaries on the bottom. You're expected to know those commentaries on the bottom when you read the top. Why should somebody write it down for you? Maran is dealing in like the Arizal was his next door neighbor. Like this is a different
Wow.
place. That's not meant to tell you so you should feel down and depressed. To the contrary, that means that this is something though that Maran intended to be taught to everybody, not just to rabbis and yeshiva and people. This is something people should learn. If I would run a Jewish high school, I could get everyone to finish 1 volume of Mishnah Berurah every year. So by the end of the year, let's say we put Hilchot Shabbat aside, because that gets complicated and it's very deep and it takes more than a year to sit and study them. You could get every Jewish high schooler in the planet to know every halakha that he needs to know, from when he wakes up till he goes to sleep, things that even his rabbi probably doesn't know. It just takes, so put aside, why do they have to study Bava Kama every day? What is the guy who graduated 12th grade in any Jewish high school across this country? What does he remember from Bava Kama when he gets into college? I'm not talking here about a yeshiva maybe where the guy has 15 hours a day to study Torah. About a place where a person I have 3 Jewish subjects among my dual curriculum, 4 Jewish subjects. Why am I still talking about the ox that gores the cow? Where is it going to take? I understand you want him to have a traditional Jewish experience and study Gemara, but at the end of the day, this kid is going to go to a very non-traditional Jewish place called university, and you need to make sure that he knows the things that he needs to know when he gets into that world. He's going to get married, he's going to be a father, he's going to be a husband, he's going to be... When is he supposed to know these things? And the reason I'm saying he is because somehow in the girls' schools they study better. Not best, but better. They study Tanakh, and they study Musa, and they study Halachot, they study, not everywhere, it's not a blanket rule, but the Jewish girls have a much more of a variety in their curriculum than the boys do. That's why I'm speaking in nice context. And so people become conceited due to religion. It's the onions that make me religious. It's the fact that I don't shower for 9 days straight during the month of Av because I'm very that's what Shulchan Aruch says. Yeah? And people find their ways to be super religious, and then it's bad enough that you're doing that, but now you look down at me.
I
Yeah.
can't write once like that. 9 days don't touch a bath. I don't want to sit near
But
that.
it's real. A lot of people don't take a shower during the 9 days, and they think that they're grabbing onto all the angels of the world, and because of that. There are people who have all kinds of strange things that they do, and it makes you
Even the
wonder.
angels move to the other side of the room.
Rabbi Avad Yosef had this, like a sign out front, right? You told us
One of the synagogues and there says, please, if it's your custom not to shower during the 9 days, we respect you, but ask you to come pray with us after Tisha B'Av. It says, if you have a custom not to shower in the 9 days, we respect it, but please come after Tisha B'Av to pray with us.
Yeah, yeah.
After.
It just means keep your distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that people should know. I want to be strict about it. I want to grab onto a higher relationship with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It could be a chumrah, it could be a stringency in halakha, but does that stringency bring me closer to Hashem, or does it bring me closer? Does it bring me closer to an onion, to a knife, to a meat sink? Is that what makes me that person? I'm not denigrating the halakha. Halakha is everyone should follow the halakha, but when you start adding things, make sure the places we're adding to are the places that need additions. Hashem already gave us laws of kashrut. The rabbis already added enough. The Shulchan Aruch added more. The poskim already today added even more. You're doing all of that. There's no room anymore for more stringencies. There's not. No.